spoken English is just a language which you need to learn, and over time, this language will turn into a skill. The skill is a soft skill which is called communication skill. Welcome back to your favorite spoken English channel, Business Spoken English. And trust me, after watching this video, you'll have complete understanding about spoken English. You'll also understand what is the best way in order to learn spoken English at the earliest and with the least amount of having pressure and anxiety of learning. See, if you are a kind of linguistic, then it'll be easy for you to learn any language. And trust me, language enhances your creativity and it also enhances your way of thinking and looking at the perspectives. See, because you think in your own language about the topics, and that gives you a very, very narrow thinking, because you have not seen the other way of looking at things. Because if your language is Hindi, then Hindi is not your language, it's your feeling. If I say hey, you won't feel it, but if I say namaste, you'll feel it from deep core of the heart. So that's how it goes. When you look at the matters with extreme emotion, you actually destroy them. But if you look at above the emotion, you see the reality. That's why people who learn at least 2 languages have clarity in most of the topics, and they are, balanced. They don't go with emotion too far, but they understand with multiple mindsets. So that's how it goes. And now let's talk about learning about spoken English. What is the best way in order to learn it? See, any language, if you need to learn, you have just 4 ways in order to do so. Firstly, reading, listening, thinking, and speaking. Again, I'm repeating it. Other than these 4 ways, there's no way you can learn any language. It's not just about English, but any language. Reading, read a lot. Listening, listen a lot. Speaking, speak a lot. And thinking, think a lot, not overthinking, but constructive thinking. And these all should be done in English only. For example, you're just in your bed doing nothing, you're about to sleep. Rather than starting your dreamland where you meet fairies, you should focus on some thoughts. And those thoughts should be in English. So in a way, everywhere where you spend the time, you have no actions to perform. At that span of time, you should ponder upon thoughts, and those should be in English. Even if you commit mistake, accept, because no one is listening to you, no one is going to criticize you, because no one is even listening to you, right? So that's about listening. Let's talk about other aspects of learning English. Reading. See, newspapers are the best way, but nowadays the level of newspapers have enhanced so much that even UPSC, BPSC prefers to ask questions from these only. So rather than selecting a newspaper, you should prefer purchasing a normal comic book, Chutkule in English, some crazy books, a children book, any English story of standard 1, 2, 3, select it. Once you do this, you have normal sentences in front of you, and by reading them, you will actually use them. I wish you understand what I'm saying. If you purchase a book of class 1 or 2, just a normal book in which you see, I'm going, you're coming, he eats an apple, I'm eating an apple, I was eating an apple, I have been eating apples. So, if you go through these statements, you will subconsciously keep in mind, and at situations where you need to speak, you will. So, read normal and easy statement books where you have, clarity, you have enjoyment while reading them. So, read a lot. Now, let's talk about next aspect, which is listening. Audiobooks, YouTube, Business Spoken English, people, podcast, daily happenings, news. You can select any of these. Listen. The more you listen, the more clarity you have about pronunciation, the more clarity you have about accent, the more clarity you have about, verbal modifications and way of stating things. I wish you understand. So listen a lot wherever you go, whatever you select in your phone, listen in English. If you do so, subconsciously you will inherit these, you will absorb these, and at time when you need to speak, it'll be subconscious. You'll be speaking it just onto pro. You'll just perform it spontaneously. Okay, let's talk about the last aspect, which is speaking. Now, there can be a time where you have been given opportunity to talk in English, but just because in your mind you have your own personality which you think is not completely proficient in a language, and you cannot narrate a single statement. If you have this personality, this image of yours in your mind, then delete it right now. Think that people are not going to kill you, they're not going to drag you to road just because you committed a simple article mistake in your grammar. It's not going to be happen. Even people are not going to laugh upon you. They'll just observe and they'll forget. People do not have this amount of time that they'll just think about it. See, at this time, you're neither a leader nor a professional. You're not even a movie, I would say, actor or actress. So people don't have this much time that they'll keep thinking that Prince did a mistake in yesterday's speech, and he didn't say we and he said I. What a terrible mistake to do. It's not going to be happen. People will think about that for 5 seconds, and the next second they'll forget you there itself, because next there are many people about whom they have to think, right? So you're not the only person for whom they are going to criticize. There are millions of people in front of their eyes. They have government to talk about. They have leaders to talk about, to criticize them. They have people to criticize. They have their own parents, even they criticize them as well. So you're no longer different than these, right? So don't think, speak too much. Don't think of these things that you might be criticized, you might be praised. You do hell with all these. Just don't think that either of, in both the scenarios, there'll be win-win situation, right? Even if you get criticized, you learn things. If you get praised, that's good for you, right? So that's how it goes. Reading, listening, speaking, and thinking. They're just 4 actions which you can utilize in order to learn any language onto pro. That's sufficient for today. We'll meet tomorrow in the next one with some cool topics just like this. Follow Wisdom Spoken English for such videos.